Three, two, one, and we're live, Paul. This is the 8th episode of the WrestleVLOGS Session. This is Moich, and as always, we are joined by the dildo dude himself, El Chazo.
What up, y'all?
And the host of WrestleVLOGS. He is the mark that gets marked, the first ever WrestleVLOGS champion, Julio.
How's it going, guys? It's here, surviving every day.
And on today's episode, we've got a very special guest. He is co-owner and the promoter of GCWA, that's the Gulf Coast Wrestling Alliance, Jeff. How's it going, Jeff?
I'm doing well. Hope everybody's staying safe out there. How y'all doing?
Taking it easy, man. Taking it easy.
Pretty good. Take it away, Julio.
All right, Jeff. Well, welcome to WrestleVLOGS. We had you on WrestleVLOGS before, I think about 2 times, for pretty much mark the mark on those segments.
Yeah.
So Jeff, introduce yourself to the listeners of WrestleVLOGS.
Well, I'm Jeff Trevino. I am the co-owner and promoter for GCWA here in Corpus Christi, Texas. I've been with GCWA pretty much since I was 18 years old. I took a few years off, had some back surgery and stuff like that, so I was off for a little while. And now I'm back and making it bigger and better than ever.
Awesome. So just to start off, what got you into wrestling?
It's just something that I caught on TV by chance when I was 5-6 years old. They used to show world-class championship wrestling on ESPN just about the time I got off of school, and I just happened to be flipping through the channels and caught a match, and it was Von Erickson Freebird feud at that time, so it was real big into that, and it got me, man. And then I got introduced into WWE, Saturday Night Main Event, when we used to have to stay up late and watch it, and from there I was just hooked. It was just something that I was got real deep into, and I always said I was gonna be a part of it. I wanted to be a wrestler, wanted to be a wrestler, and I did it for a few years, and then I said I got injured and had to stop the in-ring activities. So what's better than being a promoter, huh?
Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit more about your wrestling career. How'd you start wrestling? Where did you train at, and who did you train with?
I trained here locally in Corpus Christi, Texas, with Paul Galvan and Ben Galvan. They used to have a gym behind Paul's house, and I started when I was about 17 with them, and every day it was every day, and Paul was no joke, he really, old school wrestling. If we it was a lot of holds. He wanted holds and holds and holds until we couldn't do holds no more. And man, we get something wrong. There was, it was a different training back then, to say the least.
And how was it? Like, we're pretty old school, correct?
Yeah, very old school. Like I said, very old school. He would, little things like, we would mess up a spot or something. He would take the ring actually away from us, and we would have to work out on the floor. You know what I mean? And with carpet as the padding on the floor, concrete floor, and everything, taking our bumps, taking hip tosses, taking, doing everything we would do in the ring, but on the floor, and that was kind of, little punishments and stuff that we had to when we didn't do what we were supposed to do. So, but I'm thankful for it. It showed me a lot. He showed me a lot in the business, and it made me how I am. It made me appreciate talent and appreciate the hard work it takes to get to where, there's no half-assing it, to say it's all or nothing.
And let's see. And your first match there in the scene when you just broke in, how was your first match?
My first match was actually pretty good. It's another funny story. I refereed for about 4 years before I actually had my first match, and back then, we were Desperado Ricky Gonzalez. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that name. He's actually Victoria Gonzalez's dad from NXT. He was
yeah.
he was one of our major stars. He was like, we would bring him in like he was the champion here. And at that time, it wasn't GCWA. It was Gulf Coast Championship Wrestling. And we brought in Paul actually brought in Tiger Steel, who was a big name in Japan. He was a 7-foot guy. He the finish of the match, I was refereeing. He said, "Hey kid, at the end of the match, I'm gonna choke slam you." And this guy, like, shoot, is really 7 foot tall. You know, look him up. You know, Tiger Steel. So I was like, cool. So you know, they did their thing. And at the end of the match, you know, I went to separate them, turned around, choke slammed me. Boom. All right, took my bump, everything. Went to the back. Paul told me, you know what? That was a good bump. You're ready for a match. So about 2 weeks later, had my first match underneath the hood, and I wrestled Mr. Prestigious. Back then, he wasn't Mr. Prestigious. He was Wildcat Nelson. And we had our first match, and I believe it was in Beeville, Texas. It was my first match, and it was a good, solid match. I have it on video somewhere. And you know, it was fun. It was my first real match. So.
And what name did you go under at that time?
At that time, there was a thing with GCWA or Gulf Coast Championship Wrestling. They we typically, and it kind of got passed on, they would put us under a hood for our first few matches. You know, just in case we really, really sucked or something, it wouldn't be as, you know, wouldn't feel so bad. But it was the Night Stalker was the gimmick that they gave pretty much all of us guys coming up. There were like 3 or 4 different of the people that were the Night Stalker. So my first match, yeah.
And how about when you took off the hood? What did you start wrestling as?
When I took off the hood, actually me and Ben Galvan tagged for a while, and my name was Gangster Grim, and I stuck with that all the way through my whole run. You know what I mean? Of course, there were some areas where I went to go wrestle, like I went to wrestle for George Isla in Austin, and Papa Don had he's the guy, he runs AAPW now. He had his little clique back then, and it was MOB. And since I had a gangster gimmick, he didn't want them to like associate with me with him. So I had, you know, changed my name here or there, but for the most part, you know, I always stuck with Gangster Grim, and you know, I did fairly well. You know, I wrestled and all over Texas. I wrestled in, you know, Mexico a few times, and the Valley a lot. We used to run in a place in Brownsville called The Workout. I don't think it's still there anymore, but yeah, I mean, it was pretty all right.
And how were the matches there in the Valley that you had down here?
They were good. They were good. There was a lot of different talent back then, so there was a different era. You know what I mean? It was a different time. But luckily, I wrestled a lot of. See, I got into the hardcore, more of the hardcore scene, the barbed wire, the thumbtacks, and that. So I pretty much, you know, would travel, work like the same people mostly, because back then there wasn't a whole lot of people that were doing that stuff, you know. So it was becoming fairly more popular, you know what I mean, at that time. So there was not too many people that were crazy enough to do it back then. So I would tend to work with Mr. Prestigious. We had a guy here that was were trained with us too, Frank, and he wrestled under Valak, a vampire gimmick. I wrestled him a lot. I wrestled a lot of different people, Prince, Hurricane, stuff like that. But from the Valley, the big guy down there that was into that, his name was Lou, Gravedigger. And I wrestled him a few times down there to work out.
Right on. Now, have you definitely like seen any sort of like differences from how wrestling crowds back then to now, or has it stayed the same? Has it shifted?
The crowds are way different now. Now the crowds are a lot smarter. They expect a lot more than back then. You know, back then they were just more in awe. You know, when it came to, and like when we ran here GCCW before it turned to GCWA, we ran every 2 weeks, and we would pack the house just about every show, and we had our regulars, and actually some of the regulars still go to our shows to see where, and I kind of have to look at it like that and get in there. And deep down, I mean, I'm a fan. That's what I am. I'm a fan. I'm always going to be a fan. And I just have to look at it like that. You know what I mean? What's really going to be a banger? Oh, this is really, you know what I mean? This is, that wow factor that because nowadays it's hard. There's so many promotions out there. There's so many people putting out great product. You know what I mean? There's tons of promotions in Texas, and to try to stay above them and try to put on matches and see things differently and do things a little bit differently. It's hard. You know what I mean? Because you're typically working with the same pool of talent. You know what I mean? Besides, other names that you bring in. So you want to try to do something with those talents. You know what I mean? And bring people in that like who is this guy? I never heard, like Joe Alonso. I was the first one to bring Joe Alonso to Texas. Nobody knew who he was. I tried to get him booked on other shows, and everybody's all like, "No, who is he?" You know what I mean? I don't know who this kid is. Well, now you can see he's getting booked here, and he's getting booked here in Texas and there in Texas. So, you know what I mean? It's just stuff like that. You got to think out of the box a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know. Recently, it popped up on Facebook. It was like this big. It was a flyer for a big show. I can't remember how many promotions. It had a massive amount of wrestlers on it. Have you guys ever thought about doing something like that, where you guys run a show, co-run a show with other promotions, kind of like what Heavy Metal, Sabotage, Inspire, and all that we're attempting to do during WrestleMania weekend? Have you guys ever thought of doing something like that again, where all these promotions get together?
We've actually have done it with LWA in the Valley. I mean, not in the Valley. I'm sorry, in Laredo, and so it was great. The crowd was good, and I mean, it was a long show. I mean, it was a long day, and it was hot, man. It was hot. There was no AC in the venue, so it was really hot. And I'm actually thinking of doing something like that here locally soon. Once, if this stuff ever goes away and we ever get back our lives back to normal, I'm really planning on doing something like that. There's some promotions that I work close with more than others, So I mean, I would love to do something with Brandon Oliver. I would love to do something with RCW. I mean, to me, Brandon's been doing this for a long time successfully. He's one of the strongest, independent promotions out there. I would love to do something with Brandon Oliver. I would love to do something with LWA, do more with LWA. You know what I mean? I would love to do. I'm pretty much to work with any promotion, but there's certain ones that I would really want to work with more than others.
Mm-hmm. And kind of touch on that on like Texas promotions. Like, what are your thoughts on like the Texas independent scene going on right now? It's kind of been blowing up recently.
It's blowing up. You have so many. You have us older guys. You know what I mean? The guys that have been around longer. You know what I mean? Of course, RCW. Us. LWA. Then you have the new kids on the block. The TWL from McAllen.
Yeah, Texas Wrestling League.
Them, of course, Heavy Metal. Heavy Metal puts on a great product. Heavy Metal reminds me so much of that ECW feel. They do have a great product. I really do respect what they do. Then you have the New Texas Pro, and all them, of course, Sabotage, and all them. They're killing it, and they're doing their thing. And I mean, I don't knock nobody. You know what I mean? They're all putting on. They're all putting out quality stuff. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. It's getting harder in Texas because so much to compete with nowadays. Lions Pride was doing amazing. So it's great, man. It's great for the talent. They have so many places to work nowadays. That's 10 years ago. It wasn't like that. You didn't have. I can go work this promotion. I can go work that promotion. You're pretty much the 2-3 promotions that were running, and that was it. To get on those because there was so much talent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's great because it gives the fans a lot of options to go out and go to the shows, kind of like Julio and I do. Now, what would you say, like, compared to other these promotions, without putting anyone down or anything, what would you say GCWA has, that's different than any of these promotions?
Man, honestly, I can tell you, and I'm not. It's weird because, like I said, I'm on the inside looking out. But because I go to shows too. I've been to heavy metal shows. I've been to a heavy metal show. I've been to RCW shows. I've been to I've been to a bunch of different shows, and ours is just the feeling is different. It's more. Now, I'm not saying it's family oriented, but our crowd feels like our family, and like I said, some of them have been going to our shows since they were kids. I have a picture actually of with one of our fans that he was a little boy. He took a picture of me when I wrestled. Now he's a grown man. You know what I mean? He's and when he showed it to me, it was crazy, and I was like, wow, man, that's crazy. Our crowd is really what makes, I think, what sets us apart, and then our locker room, the way we treat them, the way we interact with each other, you know what I mean, is like a big family,
So touching back on GCWA, can you tell us a little bit more like a backstory of GCWA, how it started?
Well, it started with, like I said, as GCCW, and you had Rick Garcia and Paul Galvan, and they were the ones who ran it. They did the booking. They were actually Ben and his brother Jeff would do the booking, and Paul and Ben and Jeff would do the training, and it ran like that for maybe 20 years or so. And then, about that. And then I know Rick, I think, and Paul had a separation of some sort, and Martin Green came up with the name Gulf Coast Wrestling Alliance, because Marty was he trained with us. He was there with us since day one. Came up with the name Gulf Coast Wrestling Alliance, and we ran with it from there on. And then Paul was still involved, but at that time, Ben and Jeff had kind of taken over more of the running the inside of it, the running the booking and stuff like that. And that's when I started kind of getting involved a little bit more in the production side of it, and the story writing and the stuff like that. Then, like I said, I took a break for a while, and when I came back is when I kind of jumped back into okay, let me start trying to book, and let's start putting this together, and so we kind of did a whole 180 and just changed everything around. Now it's me and Ben who we run everything, from, I hang posters, I did the tickets, I do everything,
And you're all doing a great job on the GCWA shows. And then the first one I ever went to was, I can't remember the date. I think it was around June. It was that time when Nate Jolly went against Shawn Spears, and one of my friends from the Valley just took me over there. Like, let's go see Shawn Spears. I'm like, all right. But overall, I liked the whole show. It was my first time seeing people that I heard. I was barely getting into the Texas wrestling scene, and I was seeing people that I heard of for the first time, and it was a great show overall.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that one I worked really that show kind of almost gave me a heart attack. It was, from Shawn Spears having flight issues, to getting here, like I literally picked him up like while the second match was going on. I had to haul out to the airport to get him because his flight were delayed, and it was crazy day. But then the show ran over because he got here late, but yeah, it turned out to be a good show, man, and we were packed that night. It was very good, but like I said, it turned out to be a long one. But I appreciate everybody staying to the end and enjoying it. But yeah, that was one of my favorite. Nate Jolly is one of my favorite, not just in his business, but as a friend, as you know to me, he's a great guy, and I'm glad to see him. He's really coming into his own, and he's got it. He's just got to push a little bit harder.
Yeah, and I know we're big fans of Nate Jolly. Now, my first introduction to you guys was actually Julio took me along to Sammy's the Sammy's last indie show or the
Yeah.
birthday bash, and that was a great show. I love the venue. I love the energy of the crowd. You know, the show was great. So again, that was my first introduction to GCWA, and I think maybe the Chase Zones was the last show that I went to. I don't think I got around to going yet, but yeah, just going to you guys' shows. I mean, again, the energy's great. It feels like a family, and it's just great shows overall.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Like I said, I work hard at it, and it's like I work a full-time job. I work in a refinery, and I come home, and I'm still banging out of. I mean, my phone blows up all the time from people wanting to get booked, and then for people I'm trying to book, and this and that, and it's like a never-ending job. But I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I love it. I love what I do. I love putting out a product that people like. Tell man, I really enjoyed coming. I really enjoy the show. I really enjoyed this match. I really enjoyed it. Even if you tell me, hey, that match sucked. I mean, hey, a response is a response. You know what I mean? At least you're honest. But I work hard at doing it, and I try to keep pumping out good product. And as soon as all this crap is over, I mean, I got nothing to do now but think of angles and write storylines out and see what's gonna happen next.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. And now, kind of on the topic of the future for GCWA, where exactly do you want to take GCWA, and like, what is there any kind of like match stipulation that you haven't booked that you kind of want to book yet in the future?
And that's there is so much stuff I want to do, and so much. We've never had a no ropes barbed wire match, and that is something I want to do. Like, I want to have. I mean, I wouldn't say a whole death match show because that's kind of heavy metal's thing. You know what I mean? But I want to have at least one no ropes barbed wire match here in GCWA. I mean, there's so many things I want to do, and there's so many things that I have thought of that haven't been really done. I mean, they've probably been done somewhere in wrestling because everything repeats itself, but I put my little twist on it, and I don't really want to go too much into it because then it pops up on somebody else's show.
For sure.
Yeah, and I was actually gonna ask that as like with you doing those hardcore type matches. I don't think I've seen that with GCWA. I know Julio had mentioned or sent us a clip of a steel cage match, but I mean it's good to hear because we're fans of the death match. So hopefully, or death match hardcore style. Hopefully we get to.
We've had some man. And this was going back, I mean, not that long ago, but it was a good while back when Russo and Rudy Russo and Ben Galvan were having their feud. Man, they had a pretty good hardcore match. They were all around the Valencia. They were outside, inside, on cars. They were on trailers. I'll look to see if I have clips of it. If I do, I'll post it up. I should have the match, but yeah, it was that match was crazy. Mecha Wolf and Masada was crazy.
Wow,
that match, and I do have video of that match. That match was nuts. I mean, they were all over the place too. I mean, we've had some pretty good. The cage match was good. It was it got a little bit crazy, man. It was pretty good. We've had some pretty good hardcore matches. I just have to post them up. Some of them are a little bit older, but yeah, no, I'm talking about real hardcore. Yeah, we need to do something soon.
Hell yeah, definitely. I would definitely love to attend one of those shows, man. Because like I said, I know Julio, Chase, and I are pretty big fans of that style of wrestling.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah.
So going back to GCWA, how was the first show you booked? Who was booked, and how did the show go overall?
Oh, the actual first show I did all by myself, I cannot remember. It's been a while back. I always booked matches through in the show. You know what I mean? Like I booked this match, and then Ben would book this match, or you know what I mean? It's always been, it's been like for long. It's been for longer than I can remember. But like completely on my own. I can tell you the match that I booked on my own that I'm probably one of the ones I'm most proud of was Sammy and Cody. Uh, that was something I worked hard to do, and I got it. Another match that I was pretty proud of was Ricky Starks and TJP, which I thought came out great. You know, just like I expected from them. They're great talent. But as far as my first show, man, I can't remember. It's been a while.
Now, now I know, we did the big mark the mark there in GCWA. I know the first time you guys were a little iffy about it, kind of had to stop us before Moonshine got his hands on
Yeah.
on Julio. And then with the last show that Julio went to, where it was the big, the huge.
They loved it.
Yeah, the whole huge blowout. It seems like everybody, loved to be a part of it. Love watching it. What's kind of your take on that? Or what were your first thoughts when you first saw like us doing Mark the Mark?
I actually love it, and I love the name. Y'all need to trademark it. Somebody does before somebody else does, because I think that name is money. But at first, it kind of just caught me. And all show days are always a little bit tense for me, whether it's before the show, after the show. You know what I mean? Because there's just so much going on. Kind of caught me off guard. I didn't know what was going on at first, and the first thing I think in my head is shit, lawsuit. You know what I mean? And me being, I guess the business side of my mind kicked in, and I was like, nope, you need to have something written or something saying, you know what I mean? I didn't know what was going on. After I got the gist of it, like the next day or when I came, actually, I think that night later on, when I seen, oh, all right, I understood what was going on. My mind wasn't in full gear, you know what I mean? Wasn't running. I got it. It's a great concept, and I mean, I like it. Everybody seems to enjoy it. It's entertaining, and I mean, keep doing shit. I mean, it's a unique angle.
Yeah, and I guess not. I guess now we should have ran it by you before we just kind of took over the after show.
Yeah. The fans love it. The fans, like, a lot of fans stay around to watch it, and you know, they're into it. I mean, it's all good. Like I said, it was just at the time, it just like I caught me off guard, and I was, like I said, my mind was racing, and I was doing 100 things at once, and I was like, oh shit, what's going on? Somebody's getting the shit kicked out of them, and then like I said, after I realized it and saw it later, I was like, all right, I got the concept of it, and then it was like, cool, man. You know what I mean? They whatever it takes to get over, right?
Right. I guess moving back to the booking side of things, what are some kind of like Texas talents or talent in general that you haven't already booked and would like to book on some of your shows once all of this is over?
Texas talent, there's a lot of it that like I said, I get emails, a lot of videos and stuff like that from a lot of guys out of state, a lot of guys in state that I haven't had a chance to work with yet. But I mean, there's just, I mean, so many. I don't even know where to start really. Will All Day I haven't had on the show yet. I need to have Will All Day on the show soon. What's his name? Kiefer Bartek. Right, that's the way you say it?
Yeah, Bartek, yeah.
I would like to have him on the show soon. Shit, who else is there? Who else was there that I was thinking? Wes Crane. Man, there's a bunch of guys that and there's a bunch of guys that are, still, I mean, from Chicago and from other places that I want to have on the shows too. It's just, there's so many out there. You only have so many spots that it's kind of hard to fill them all,
And what about Texas talent with us being, me and Julio? Any Texas talent that you've seen? Valley talent.
Valley talent? Shit. ASF, but he's in Laredo, but I haven't wanted like every show. No, Hold on, let me think. Valley talent. Well, hot damn Jesse James. I've had him on a show, and he's an upcoming kid. Dale Dempsey's a great upcoming kid too, but he's from Laredo too, I guess. Valley. As far as McAllen and that area, that's Montreal's area. I don't know really. I haven't seen too many guys from that area.
Okay, I know Chase had a question.
Yeah, I was kind of the same question because me being from San Antonio and here in San Antonio, who are some of your favorite San Antonio talents that you kind of want that you may have not gotten onto the GCWA shows yet?
Well, like I got Pistolitos on finally. I got him on a show. I've been wanting to book him for.
Oh yes, he's underrated.
Yes, he's a great kid, great talent. You know what I mean? He's gonna be good. I finally got him on. All the hybrid upcoming students that are coming out of hybrid are gonna be good. You know what I mean? I haven't had Drew Who or none of them on yet. David Kidd just started getting booked on our shows. There's a lot of talent in San Antonio, and I mean, I work with hybrid a lot, so I do use the students a lot. You know what I mean? That are coming out. So, I mean, other than that, Rudy, like Alex Arsenal, I got him on the show. He's a great talent too. Rudy did a hell of a job with that kid. I mean, he's great, and I'm looking forward to having him back on some more shows here pretty soon. So.
Hell yeah. Now, I guess we'll segue into a segment we have. Usually we have our guests, roast a subject or cut a promo on a subject. But for this special segment, since you're more now on the promoter end of things, we'll give you what kind of, if you were to book the WrestleVLOGS crew, which is Julio, myself, and Chase, what kind of matches or stipulations would you put us in if you were ever to book the WrestleVLOGS team?
All right, sounds pretty cool. Let's do it. I guess Julio. Who would I book him with too, or just?
Yeah, who would you book him
with?
Julio, I would book probably with Masada.
You want me to die?
Yes. Deathmatch Julio.
I low-key kind of want to take a Masada chop now.
No, you gotta take the skiers to the head before you get a chop.
Oh shit!
No. The fans bring the weapons match.
Oh wow!
Oh. I'll bring my thumbtack covered dildo that Casanova Valentine used on Ruben Steel.
Ruben Steele's another one that not to be going back, but yeah.
Yeah.
From San Antonio that we used to use him a lot, when he was hybrid. And just because he's not with hybrid anymore doesn't mean that I would love to still have him. You know what I mean? I would love to bring him in. He's one of my favorite people that I know in this business, and he's a great guy. That's who I forgot to mention from San Antonio that I would love to have back in GCWA.
Hell yeah, Ruben Steele is definitely one of our top favorites from heavy metal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then let's see, Zilla I would probably book against Dalton.
Oh wow! What kind of match? Just a regular
hair versus hair match.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Hair and beard.
Yeah, hair and beard, everything goes together. And let's see, I got Chase left.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. We haven't met, but let me just kind of describe you what I look like. I'm 5'8" and I'm 145 pounds, soaking wet. I'm small, so do what you please with that information.
Put you probably with 145.
I'm like 5'7 3/4, technically 5'8".
Take it easy. Would you put you with somebody like Adrian Cruz?
Oh, thank God.
Cruz.
Oh.
Want to hear something funny? So you know how Chris Cruz is a nurse?
Yes.
Funny enough, I also work in the healthcare industry.
Yeah. Well, there you go. We'll do a stethoscope on a pole match.
Yikes.
I'm here for it.
Now, I guess we'll start wrapping things up. Unless Julio, did you guys have any other questions for Jeff before we kind of start wrapping things up a little?
I have some fan questions.
Oh
Time
yeah.
we get some fan
About some
questions.
fan questions. I almost forgot.
All right.
Well, shoot. What are
Let's see. From Joseph Moreno, are we going to bring some big names this year for GCWA?
I got a lot in the works as soon as all of this stuff. I can't really put a date because I don't know if that date will get pushed back instead of having to postpone and postpone and postpone. I'd rather just get the all clear, announce the date, and announce the show from there. But yeah, I got a lot. I got a lot. If everything gets back to normal, I have a lot planned.
Hell yeah, man. And also from Joseph Moreno, is there anything new for the promotion that's upcoming this year?
Well, we had something that's kind of in the works, and I'm not really. It's kind of I can't really go into it, but yes, I did have something really kind of exciting and big planned. But as for right now, all that stuff is on hold.
All right, and finally from Albert Rodriguez, kind of alluded to this earlier. What would your dream booking be if money was not a problem?
If I could spend whatever I wanted right now, the match that I'm like destined to book, and it's kind of hard because him being so loyal to New Japan and not really, and I've actually talked to him before and tried to like, hey, come on, man, and back and forth, but New Japan kind of got some boat up. I would love to put Will Ospreay and ASF together in the same ring.
Holy shit!
Oh yeah,
that would fucking tear the roof off.
I would love to have that match, and it's just. I mean, I like I said, I've tried to book them. Oh, they make the flight's going to cost you this much. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me you would do it, but it hasn't worked out. Maybe I'm never going to say never because I don't give up very easy. So,
wow, that would be insane.
Wow.
Yeah,
definitely
something I wouldn't mind having.
Jeff, with all of this going on, with the virus and everything getting canceled, as we're all going through this, what kind of message would you kind of want to give out to the world, people that are listening, as we're kind of all going through this virus?
It sucks, of course. Everybody knows, you know what I mean? But just do what you're supposed to do, you know what I mean? Try to stay home, try to stay out of crowds, try to stay away from people, take care of yourself and your hygiene and do what you're asked to do. And if they ask you to stay completely at home, stay completely at home. My wife's an essential worker. My wife's in the nursing field, and I work in a refinery, and we're essential. Actually, we're key on-site resources, is what they call us. But we're continuing to work, and so just stay at home if you have to stay at home. And as far as for the wrestling world, we'll bounce back. We'll bounce back harder, bigger than ever. You know what I mean? I know every promotion in the whole United States right now, every indie promotion is kind of hurting. But take your time right now. You know what I mean? Regroup, refocus, write material, get, you know what I mean? Start thinking of booking, what you're going to do, who you're going to use. Try to put something together that hasn't been done before. You have so much time right now to think and really work on stuff, out of the box. But, use it to your advantage and be ready for when we're allowed to come back and put on our show. You know what I mean? And we'll hit the ground running, and there'll be a boom of indie wrestling again, and it'll be hotter than ever and bigger than ever. And just work on your material.
Hell yeah!
All right, so one thing you want to leave advice you want to leave to the people that are trying to break into business, whether it be in wrestling, production, referee, management.
The best advice I could give you is find a good school. You know what I mean? Find a school with reputable reputation. Go your hybrids, your Booker T's, your Rudy Gonzalez. You know what I mean? You want to go to and then stay there, learn your craft. Once you've learned and you think you learned enough, go to the next school, learn something new, because it's going to benefit you. Everybody teaches you different. You know what I mean? They might teach you how to do an armbar 3 different ways at 3 different schools. Is it right? No. Oh, is it wrong? No. It's the way they're teaching you to do it, you know? And exposure, marketing. Market yourself. Invest in yourself. Buy merch. Buy merch to sell merch. You know, that's how more guys you don't realize, you know, make more money off their merch than they would do off their booking fees. I mean, back in the day, Sammy wasn't charging hardly anything, but he was making $1,000 in merch sales a night. You know, it's just market yourself. It's very big, very key.
Very good advice. Now, anywhere either we can follow you know, wrestlers or anybody that wants to get booked on GCWA, anywhere where they can find you on social media or find, you know, the company on social media where they can reach out, send you tapes, you know, send you a message, anyone that's interested.
They could always hit me up on Facebook on the GCWA page. I'm 99.9% of the time the guy that will respond to you. You can also send me videos and send me bios to book it at GCWA. Book it GCWA at gmail.com. You can send me videos, send me stuff there. I typically reply to everybody. You know, it may take me a day or two sometimes, but I reply to everybody and I'll give you my honest opinion. You know, if I feel you're fit, if you're not, you know, I'll say, hey man, you know, you did good, and try to put in a little bit more work and hit me back up or whatever, you know. But those are the 2 best places: either direct message on the GCWA Facebook, or like I said, book it GCWA at gmail.com.
And I know I've seen some GCWA shirts roaming around. Is there anywhere we can find those? Any merch that the company has?
I'm actually working on getting to where you can order them online from us. But all of this kind of put a hanker on it. I actually having shirts made at this moment, but since my t-shirt guy is deemed non-essential, he had to close his shop. So shirts are sitting in his shop. So as soon as I can, I will get those and I will announce on the Facebook, on the GCWA Facebook page, how to get them and where to get them at.
Thank you for coming out here.
Thank y'all for having me.
Good.
I really appreciate. I really appreciate it. I really like y'all's product, and y'all keep doing what y'all are doing.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Thank you for coming on. Bye.
All right, guys. So that was our interview with Jeff of GCWA. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys learned some shit, because I definitely did too. As always, you can follow all of us on social media. You can follow me on Instagram at El Chazo. That is El Chazo with 3 Z's, ELCHAZZZO. On Twitter at El Chazo. That is ELCHAZZO.
And you can follow me on Instagram. That's at Moichzilla. That's MoichZiilla. And on Twitter at Merchzilla. That's MERCHZIILLA.
And you can follow me on my social medias on Instagram, Julio_VASKS2. That's Julio Vasquez _2. And then you could also follow me on Twitter, Julio_Vasquez. It's Julio_VASKES. And then also, of course, follow WrestleVLOGS on all social media platforms. Shit, I keep fucking up. At WrestleVLOGS, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And our next guest of the shows, we still got ASF, Joe DeMero, the great ones, and Roxy, and whoever else wants to be on the show. If anybody else wants to be on the show, just send us a DM to any of our social media accounts, and we'll book you, or else we'll reach out to you. And our message every time after the show, guys:
be kind and wash your
fucking hands. God damn it!
If you don't wash your hands, Chase, can you give us a list of who we're sending over to kick your ass? Not your ass.
All right, if you,
People that
I
wash
know.
their hands.
If you don't wash your fucking hands, we're gonna send Richie Garcia, Rodney Mack, Remedy, Nastico, Joe Exotic, Bryson Scott, fucking Rob Love, and Jeff from GCWA to kick your fucking ass.
All right, well, that's a wrap. Thank you guys so much for listening again. Make sure you guys follow us everywhere, and have a good night. Laters.
Later.
Oh, yeah.